Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and we are talking 2026 new releases. I've really pared back my new releases, my anticipated releases list. I don't know, I'm getting more like a fuddy-duddy. As like last year I took some chances on some new authors and it was really hit or miss. So most of my 2026 anticipated releases are authors I've read before, which may be boring, but it's typically more safe in general. Not that I won't read other, debuts from or authors I've never read from before. It's just that this anticipated list is a little bit more curated to authors I'm familiar with. That being said, the first book we're going to talk about is a debut, brand new author. But the synopsis was super intriguing. So we're gonna go top of the year to the end of the year. I only have 18 books to talk about, so let's get started with February releases. So the first book in February that I'm interested in is called The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. This is a historical fantasy male romance horror based on real historical events that had to do with killer wolves happening. And I'm actually familiar with the historical events that inspired this fantasy story. So as soon as I read the synopsis, I was like, this sounds really familiar. And in the synopsis, it mentions the historical events. So I don't want to spoil that. Go check it out if you're interested. But this one, the cover looks incredible. And two, the synopsis intrigues me. So that's coming out in February. On the other end of the spectrum, Get Over It, April Evans by Ashley Herring Blake. This is also coming out in February. And this is the newest Ashley Herring Blake sapphic contemporary romance. She's 50-50 for me, so I'm kind of tempering my expectations for this new release, but I'm, fingers crossed for me that this contemporary romance is a hit for me. The last February release is All Hail Chaos, which is a fantasy romance. I read the first book in the series and enjoyed my time reading it. It was really silly and goofy, and I just want to see how this duology concludes. It's a little bit of a fantasy satire, and I enjoyed my time. We'll see how the sequel goes. In March, we have a new T. Kingfisher, Wolfworm. I don't know anything about it. It's T. Kingfisher. I'm gonna pick it up. Then we have the new Abby Jimenez coming out in March, which is called The Night We Met. Although the previous 2025 Abby Jimenez story didn't super land with me, I still gave that 3.5 stars, and I think Abby Jimenez is still one of my favorite romance authors, so I will pick up her new release as well. Steel Gods by Richard Swan is the next book in the it's not Grey Vampire, it's the Great Silence, I believe is what the series is called, and this is the second book. And I'm actually going to reread the first book before picking up this second one. I read the first book in this series really fast, and I actually didn't click with it as much as I did his previous series, so I want to give book one another chance and then read the sequel because I loved his other trilogy so much. The last book I have in March is Seasons of Glass and Iron by Amal El-Motar. This is a short story collection. I really enjoyed her previous fantasy release, which was like a mythical fairy tale story, and of course This Is How You Lose the Time War is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi romances ever, so I will try to pick this one up as well from this author. In April, we have a horror, which is called The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer. His first book, I gave 5 stars and absolutely loved that, and so wanting to read more horror in general, so hopefully this one is also a smash hit. Another new to me author is a book called Thistlemarsh by Morea Corrigan. I don't know, I liked the cover and I looked at the synopsis and it seemed interesting, and it is a fantasy romance house renovation story. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a try, see what's up. I like HGTV, or I used to watch HGTV a lot when I was growing up, so this could be a fun romp. In May, we have The Tapestry of Fate by Shauna and Chakraborty. This is Amina El-Sarafi sequel, and I can't wait. Look at the cover. It's so good, and I really enjoyed Amina El-Sarafi. I actually enjoyed Amina more than the David Bond trilogy, but I still really enjoyed the David Bond trilogy, but I really am keen to see what Amina's next adventure holds. Oh, the cover, I can't get over the cover. We have a new Fonda Lee, which is her newest adult release, which is The Last Contract of Isako. Super excited. I think this has an assassin in it. I don't really know much about it, but it's Fonda Lee, author of the Greenbone Saga, and this is her newest adult work. We have another series, another romance in the same world as Real by Kennedy Ryan, which is Score by Kennedy Ryan. Real is one of my favorite Kennedy Ryan's / favorite romances ever, so we'll see what the Score has in store for me. And we have another horror by Sarah Gailey. It's called Make Me Better. Sarah Gailey is an author for me, y'all. I like their horror a lot, so hopefully this one's a banger as well. And this cover is interesting. In June, supposedly, we're having the next Anna and Din mystery come out, which is called A Trade of Blood by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is a fantasy mystery series that I've been really, really enjoying. The first one is The Tainted Cup. This is the third book in the series. Fingers crossed this actually comes out. Talia Hibbert, I hate to put pressure on her, but supposedly her romantasy, The Last Thorn, is coming out in July. It's been a little bit since this author has released anything, and I'm chomping at the bit. She's one of my favorite contemporary romance authors. I can't wait to see what she does in the romantasy sphere. In August, we have yet another T. Kingfisher. This woman writes 3 or 4 books a year. It's crazy. She publishes 3 or 4 books a year. She's insane. This is Daggerbound, which is the sequel to Swordheart. It's another fantasy romance set in the same world, and I know Brother Edmund is one of the characters who is a character from Clockwork Boys. I can't wait to see how Brother Edmund has been doing and his romance. I can't wait. I can't wait. T. Kingfisher's fantasy romances are my favorite of hers, so I'm really excited about this one. And Richard Swan actually has a second book coming out in 2026. It's called The Infinite Stars, and it's a new series, but it's an epic sci-fi instead. So obviously he's only ever published epic fantasy, and so I'm really intrigued to see what he can do in the sci-fi sphere as well. And the last book, this is probably my most anticipated. The last book I have on my list as of filming this video is Wolves of War by John Gwynne, coming out in September, hopefully. This is the newest John Gwynne. I mean, look at this John Gwynne shelf behind me. He's one of my favorite authors. I know he's had a tragedy happen in his family, and I'm hoping he's okay, and just hope that all is well with him and he somehow is still managing to write and publish books for his fans, and I really commend him for that. I don't know anything about it. It's John Gwynne. I am going to read it and pick it up. There's some really good names on this list, but this one might be the top of my anticipated releases list. What are some of your 2026 anticipated releases? Leave all your recommendations and comments and all sorts of thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video of mine very soon. Bye.